Hey guys, it's Destiny, and today I'll be going over tips to improve your damage in Zenless Zone Zero. Actually, now that you're here, let me switch my outfit real quick. Now we're talking. Before we get into today's video though, comment down below a game you guys would recommend for others to try out. My recommendation for today would have to be Octopath Traveler. If you guys do enjoy videos like these, do make sure to subscribe to win your next 50/50 in Zenless and also leave a like to support the video. Now, let's get straight into it. To begin, let's go over the basics of character roles and, in a sense, rotations. Every character in Zenless will have a fighting style, which consists of attack, stun, anomaly, defense, and lastly support. These roles will be great indicators of how to potentially go about your character rotations in a fight. A common team archetype you can do is stun, support, and attack, and what you'll want to do if you do decide to go with this type of team, you'll want to prioritize stunning the enemy with your stun character on that team, as it will allow you to quickly build up the daze meter on that enemy. And when they are stunned, they cannot move and will also take increased damage. What's really cool though about stunning enemies is that you'll be able to also trigger chain attacks, as you'll have an easy way to swap into your supportive character who can either buff your team or an incoming ally of the chain attack or debuff the enemy you are fighting. Nicole, for example, will be able to debuff an enemy for a very short time window, but with a chain attack, you'll be able to quickly go into your damage dealer and deal as much damage as you can within that small debuff window, and the time the enemy, of course, is also stunned. This is just a basic rotation you can do in battle, but it's pretty effective for having higher damage output on enemies, and will be useful to take advantage of when you get to the later modes like Shiyu Defense. Another team archetype I personally really enjoy though is Anomaly, Attack, and Support. One team in particular I like using is Piper, Lucy, and Nekomata. Essentially what this team allows you to do is build up a lot of Anomaly with Piper's skill kit, and also build up the daze meter by how fast she's attacking, plus when you pair her with another character of the same element or faction, which in this particular team you will be doing that, you'll also be able to increase the damage output of the team, which allows Piper to serve essentially as a character to build up that physical attribute Anomaly, but also buff the team's damage. Lucy being your supportive character who can allow you to take advantage of quick assist, especially with her EX special, and this will allow you to easily allow an entrance for your main damage dealer to come back in and take advantage of Lucy's buffs, as well as Piper's anomaly buildup on the enemy, and also those damage buffs that she's able to provide as well. I'll make a team video very soon for the Nekomata team in particular, but this works very nicely with Nekomata's kit, since whenever an enemy is inflicted with assault, it'll increase the damage of her next EX special attack. Piper is able to of course build up the physical anomaly very fast, so she can easily trigger assault onto enemies, and this will further increase Nekomata's damage output. We will talk about Anomaly in a bit, but I thought I'd give another team archetype such as this one. It can take longer to stun the enemy in comparison since you don't have a stun roll character on the team. You'll still be able to dish out a bunch of damage by taking advantage of Anomaly buildup and also building the daze meter with all of your character's attacks. You will of course still be able to stun the enemy, it just takes a bit longer, but it'll still work out in the end with this team comp in particular. Now though, I thought for our next tip, let's go over some character specific tips to keep in mind, which can allow you to enhance your gameplay experience. I won't be going over every character in this video, but I would highly recommend going into the training mode and practicing the character's attacks, just looking at their skill kit so that you are able to fully take advantage of what their skill kit can offer. Some examples of this can be Soldier 11's basic attack. Soldier 11's kit mentions that if you time her basic attack, you'll be able to deal fire damage instead of the primary physical damage. Now of course you can take advantage of other parts of her skill kit in order to gain fire suppression. Fire suppression allows you to have the fire slashes, and it will basically allow your next 8 basic attacks to be those fire slashes instead of physical slashes. You can get fire suppression outside of her basic attacks from doing her EX special attack, chain attacks, and ultimate, but being able to take advantage of it with just timing her basic attacks will be able to increase your damage output, since whenever Soldier 11 triggers fire suppression, her basic attack and dash attacks damage will be increased by 35% from her core passive heat wave. Now you may be wondering, what is the timing of the basic attack? So for a visual representation, you'll want to watch out for a few animations Soldier 11 does, such as swinging back her blade when she gets down, and then when she extends her leg at the end of her animation to end off with her last basic attack. Here's a slowed down demonstration of each thing to look out for. And that's essentially the timing of her basic attack. I would recommend, of course, just practicing it in training mode, since I noticed that helped me out a lot before I ended up getting the timing down naturally. As for other character tips, these are more basic, but for Nekomata, I mentioned how an enemy becoming assaulted by physical anomaly will buff her EX special attack damage, but you can also buff her damage for a short duration by taking advantage of her dodge counters and quick assists. When I play Nekomata, I attempt to take advantage of her dodge counters as much as possible so that I can take advantage of the increased damage. If you eventually get her W engine from the shop, you'll then want to incorporate more back attacks for increased damage output, and holding Nekomata's basic attack will actually allow her to easily get behind an enemy and have really good positioning when it comes to attacking them in the direction she would want to attack them in. As for Lycaon, you'll want to use his charge attacks very often, as he'll have increased days on these charge attacks, which will allow you to stun enemies pretty quick. Plus, when he hits a stunned enemy, he'll increase the stun damage multiplier of that enemy, which will equate to even more damage output for the entire team. Another tip would also be to use his EX special attack to stun the enemy and trigger a chain attack, as now you'll also lower the enemy's ice resistance with Lycaon, and on your ice teams, this is amazing for higher damage output. Speaking of the ice team though, when it comes to Ellen's damage output, you'll want to make sure you keep up with her flash freeze stacks so that her basic attacks deal more damage, as the difference in damage output between having her flash freeze stacks and having none is pretty huge. You'll be able to upkeep her flash freeze stacks by using her dash attacks and her EX special attacks, and you can also quickly gain 3 stacks after a quick assist, as Ellen will be able to gain a quick charge effect which will speed up the charging time of her dash attack. This will only last for 5 seconds, so you will need to take advantage of the quick charge, well, as the name suggests, pretty quick. Another tip regarding Ellen is that after her 3rd basic attack, you can hold down your attack button to extend the attack duration. You can do this after a basic attack combo or also after your EX special attack. As for 2 more character tips just from the top of my head, for Rina in particular, you'll want to keep track of how long her puppets are on the field, as she'll be able to provide the entire team pen ratio as long as her puppets are on the field. So upkeeping these puppets can be beneficial just to have really good uptime of that pen ratio for the team. And for those wondering what pen ratio is, it's essentially ignoring enemy defenses, so it could be a pretty useful stat to definitely have in battle. As for Nicole, she'll provide a defense drop and also applies a debuff that'll allow the team to deal more ether damage to an enemy for a very short duration. What I would recommend is to use your stun character to stun the enemy, trigger a chain attack, go into Nicole to launch her energy field, and then immediately go into your DPS character and deal as much damage as possible while the enemy is stunned and also debuffed from Nicole. You can also, for example, attack with Nicole's EX special attack and then do a quick assist into your main damage dealer to take advantage of the debuffs. There are, of course, more characters that have things to keep in mind when playing them, but I'll likely make a separate video going over all of them eventually. As for the next tip for today's video, it would be to take advantage of attribute anomaly and disorder with team comps. Attribute anomaly is when a character deals attribute damage to an enemy and it'll build up to trigger, well, attribute anomaly, which is essentially a debuff onto that enemy. If you look closely, the game will indicate how close you are to triggering an attribute anomaly debuff onto an enemy. This can help you deal a bunch of damage onto an enemy, and some attribute anomalies also have special effects to certain enemy types. For example, machines can't move when shocked, organic enemies can't move when they're burned, and so on. If you trigger 2 attribute anomaly debuffs though, you can trigger disorder onto an enemy, which will also deal a bunch of damage as well. This will require you to use two different character attributes on a team, which for example can be Piper, Lucy, and then Nekomata as the team I explained earlier. Piper will build up the physical anomaly and of course Nekomata will contribute to this, but then Lucy, when she does attack, can also inflict fire anomaly onto enemies. If you do have Nicole as a flexible spot on your team, she is really good for being able to build up the ether attribute anomaly onto enemies just with how her energy field works. So there's definitely ways that you can experiment with attribute anomaly, and it could be a pretty fun way to mess around with your team comps, but also deal a nice amount of damage, especially if the characters on your team also have a synergy with one another. For a future example I could potentially think of, it could be Zhu Yuan, Nicole, and then of course Anby. Anby will be your stunner, but she can help build up electric attribute anomaly. And then of course Nicole and Zhu Yuan are going to be doing ether. So now you're going to be able to trigger shock as well as corruption, which now leads to you of course dealing disorder onto enemies. As for the next tip of today's video, we're going to be talking about the cutest thing in the game other than the game's version of Cheeton, the Bangboos. I love these little things. They help you out in fights and also do it in the cutest way possible. The Bangboo banner is guaranteed to get an S rank Bangboo of your choosing and to also get a good amount of A ranks along the way. I would recommend basing which Bangboo you go after based on the team or characters you end up getting or wish to invest into. For example, if you get an Ellen, Lycaon, and Sokaku Ice team, the Shark Boo can be a nice option. If you intend to go for Zhu Yuan, the Resna Boo can be a nice option for you. The special effects Bangboos can do are pretty useful in fights. For example, Shark Boo literally sets up a freaking trap that'll deal ice damage but also build up ice anomaly on that enemy. Once again, they do it in the cutest way possible because just look at this little Shark Boo do its thing. As for Resna Boo, it literally summons a black hole that pulls in enemies and deals ether damage, as well as of course ether attribute anomaly buildup. Overall though, the Bangboos are pretty freaking cool friends that'll definitely help you out when it comes to dealing more damage to enemies, and I personally just love watching what they're cooking up. It's great that the Bangboo currency is also gained through just playing the game, rewards, and such, and it's really a great free-to-play benefit for sure that everyone can take advantage of. As for the final tip of today's video though, it would have to be resource management. I did mention this tip in my tips video, but I would say this tip applies here as well. If you decide to invest into a set few amount of characters, it'll benefit that team's damage output, since if you invest into every character you have, it can result in you lacking resources to actually improve your main team. What I would personally recommend doing is early on, focus on one team, and as you slowly advance through Shiyu defense, depending on how much resources you've accumulated, through playing the game and of course stamina management, you can start looking at a secondary team, as Shiyu defense will require two teams as you progress through the stages. What I would recommend though is working on your character levels, weapon levels, and then of course leveling up your skills the most earlier on. Once you're a higher level, I would then recommend aiming for specific disc drives, as later on you'll be able to get better drops, which can allow you to have more efficient farming overall. Working on your character levels, weapons, and of course skill levels will be guaranteed ways to increase your character stats as well as damage potential. That'll be all though for my top 5 tips for improving your damage output in Zenless Zone Zero. Let me know what team or even teams you guys have been working on in Zenless so far. For me personally, I have been using the Ellen Ice team, which features Ellen herself, Lycaon and Sokaku, and then my second team for right now is that Nekomata team with Nekomata, Piper, and Lucy. Just super fun teams. I've been loving them. How have you guys been enjoying the game? I've been personally having a blast, so I'd love to know what you guys think. And if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, support the video, and stay tuned for character showcases, guides, and much more. I hope to see you all next time. Peace.